What's up, guys? I never know how to start these, so welcome to another episode of The Murder Mentality with Justin Hadlock, all that other fun stuff. I don't really write like a script for none of these. I used to because I'd get super nervous, and then I got really good at just sitting here and talking and kind of just jiving in with the ideas that I've got. So I just kind of roll with that. What's up, Stanley, man? You're always in here. Love it. A few things, happen to me most days that I come up with my topics for these. A lot of things happen to me most days, let's be honest. But I'd like to think that they happen for me. I get to learn from the things that, go on in my life. And that's a huge blessing. I'm always super grateful for that. And I think that's part of like a winning mentality, is that you have to look at everything that happens as a win. Now, that means that you're going to have to look at some stuff that's painful for you in some way, shape, or form as positive. You're going to have to find the kernel of positivity in all that stuff that's making you feel some type of way, or making you angry, or hurting you, or any of those things. I'm going to just kind of hit my stride here, and we'll just talk about it, man. Here's the reality of it, guys, is that living in the present is how we live with joy, with gratitude, with love in our hearts. But living in the future and living in the past fuck us over. I believe that like the definition of pain, of real pain, is living in past traumas and living in past situations that aren't going to happen again. That, for example, missing somebody. I'm not saying it's not okay to think of them. It's not okay. I'm not saying it's not okay to feel that pain, but I'm saying it's not okay to fucking live in that pain. All right? I'm personally well acquainted with this, man. I've had way too many people in my life yanked away suddenly by death for any number of causes you can possibly imagine. It's been that way since I was a kid. It's happened over and over again. And I absolutely encourage people to mourn in a healthy way, but I don't encourage them to sit down and just sit in that grief, man. It's so bad for us, all right? And on top of that, too, when bad stuff happens to you that doesn't have to do with grief or something like that, man, you got to let that shit go. Like, you fucking have to let it go. If you bring your past trauma to the future, you're projecting it. When you're carrying that trauma on your back, what's actually happening is you're holding on to it so that you can try to recognize if it comes in the future. But that's not how it's going to work, man. You can't recognize something that's not happened yet. There's too many fucking variables. The only place that you can live is now. Okay, and the funny thing is that we think that we're projecting, we think that we're predicting what might happen and being able to change or influence that stuff. But the only thing we can really influence is ourselves. Like that's the real truth of the matter. And as long as we're sitting here worried about what we're trying to make happen 5 years, 5 minutes, 20 minutes from now, what we're not doing is living in the moment. That's an example of you're late for work, you're rushing, you're driving, oh my God, my boss is going to be so angry, boom, you get hit by a car because you weren't paying attention. You know what I mean? That's just one example, man, but we have to try as hard as we fucking can to be present. It is so important, man. The real definition of pain to me is not being able to live in this moment. And you know how I know that? Well, I'm uncomfortable when I'm not. I'm uncomfortable when I'm not living in the moment. But the funny thing is that I become comfortable when I do the uncomfortable things in the moment. When I'm sitting here projecting into the future, worried about what I might do next week, next year, 10 years from now, when I'm going to die, worried about all that stuff, what I'm not doing is living now. And when I'm sitting here looking into the past, what I'm also not doing is living now. And I'm missing the biggest fucking gift life has to offer, and that is life. The past no longer exists. It is sealed off from us inexorably. We will never get back to it. The future is yet to be told. The only thing we can try to do is be ready for it and be the type of people that know in our hearts that we will be able to take care of it. Be the type of people that know inside of us that we will handle what happens no matter the fucking cause, no matter what's doing it, no matter who or what's driving the situation, that we will not be taken out of character. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm far from it. It's very important for me to be vulnerable in that aspect. It's important for me to tell you guys that I have hard days. I have days where I do come out of character. It's becoming less and less and for shorter and shorter periods of time. And if I fucking truly do come out of it, I get so fucking down on myself. It's not even funny. Like I feel it, man. And my coach Wes Watson talks about this stuff all the time. He talks about karmic debt. I believe this is a perfect example of it, man. When we do something that comes out of the character of the person that we truly want to be, and we sit around and think about that shit for days, minutes, weeks afterwards, we're having the present, the most important aspect of our lives, robbed from us because we're just head fucking ourselves, just running a train on our own fucking mind about what we did. And I hate that feeling so bad, man. You know what else I hate on top of that feeling? I hate the feeling of knowing I could have done something and didn't. You know what's funny about that too? Is when we don't do something that we know we should be doing, it's because we future projected, stopped living in the moment, got anxiety about a situation that we think might happen. Oh my God, what if it does? And then now we're dealing with something we didn't fucking want. Well, we have to be willing to come out of our comfort zones in order to become comfortable with the uncomfortable. It's as simple as this. You will never find a life without pain. Fuck. I bet you wanted me to say something else there, but it's not. You will never find a life without pain. But what you will find is that if you embrace it, if you lean into it and you take that shit on the chin like a fucking real man, a real woman, and you don't allow it to make you a bitter, resentful, or scared, cowardly motherfucker. I feel like pretty much those are the same thing. Bitter, resentful people are usually cowardly, scared people too. That you will grow. I thought of this last night. I was listening to some stuff, and somebody else was talking about, you're never going to find a life without pain. David Goggins, this is actually who it was. He was talking about, it's like, I've learned to live in suffering. Because when you come out of it, it might be 10 fucking years from now, you're going to be so much stronger. They did this test a while back trying to grow trees indoors, grow plants indoors and stuff like that. But here's the wild thing, man. Trees don't grow fucking strong without the wind and the rain and these punishing fucking weather patterns that fucking bow them over and force them to fucking stand back up and keep growing. They do not grow strong with it. They become weak and spindly, and then if anything out of sorts happens, they fall over and fucking die. Their root systems suck. It's just like muscles on a body. You have to tear them for them to grow. You have to break them down for them to become stronger and bigger. And our minds are no different. They are essentially a muscle that doesn't work like other muscles do. What we choose to do with them, they get better at. When we don't use our fucking mind, we get better at not using it, which means that we are more easily influenced by people, places, situations, and things. I don't like being influenced without my knowledge. So it's important for me to make sure that I'm consistently present to make these kinds of decisions. I've made a lot of uncomfortable decisions these last few weeks. I made some uncomfortable decisions with choosing to actually hire an advertising agency, because I've traditionally done it all on my own, but I've reached a point in time with my business where I cannot afford to continue to take my time and attention away from the things that are most important, that I am best at, for me to try to handle all that. And there's also resources, tools, tricks, all this stuff that I just don't fucking know. And while it was scary to give somebody else the money, to say, hey, I need you to go ahead and make this happen. Let's do this. It is going to make a massive difference. But what would have happened, what would I be dealing with right now if I sat and worried about, this one time, way back, I got fucked over by somebody. So fucking what? I learned a powerful lesson every time I've been fucked over, not to be so naive, not to continuously allow myself to be put in those situations. I bet that 99.9% of the time that you've been fucked over, you signed on for that shit. Let's be honest. We do know what's going on most of the time, but we have to be present to know it, man. It's easy when somebody convinces you that the future is going to be so much brighter for them to take advantage of you. It's easy when somebody convinces you that if you don't do this, that the future is going to suck, to take advantage of you. Because what they're causing you to do is to future project and no longer live in the moment and trust your instincts and trust, most importantly, your feeling, man. The authentic voice of God in the universe is talking to us all the time, 100% of the time. And as long as we're present, we can hear it. But when we're worried about the past or the future, we are not present enough to understand what's going on then. Obviously, I'm not saying don't make plans. Obviously, I'm not saying don't don't want things for your future. But I am saying, don't think the future is going to make you happy. Fucking fly, man. I don't know when that motherfucker got in here, but it was annoying the piss out of me. But don't think it's going to be better. It won't. No moment is better than the next. Every moment you have is an opportunity for you to dig deep and to be grateful for what you have. Because, I mean, look, some moments feel happier than others, but none of them are like worth more or more valuable unless I choose to make it so. So what that also means is that every moment that I live, I can choose to make as valuable as the last one, and the one that came before that, and the 10 billion that are fucking in my past. We have to choose to remember that this and now is the only place that we truly live. Like we like to think we can. Our imaginations are the most powerful fucking things in the world, man. Our imagination will consistently fuck us over. The weirdest part about it, man, is that our goddamn mind knows us better than we know ourselves. And so it's easy for it to plague us with these fears. It's easy for it to plague us with these little apples on a carrot. Because that's what it is. They're survival instincts. It's our brain trying to avoid us feeling pain because pain is scary. We don't know what to do with it. Well, I would challenge you to really take a moment here and ask yourself the following question. Am I the person I am because of all the good things that happen to me? Or am I the person I am because of all of the negative things that have happened to me and how I've chosen to choose and use those things? Because I would say that the negative things that have happened in your life, the difficult, most painful, most insane shit that's ever happened to you has been actually your biggest blessings. And there's a whole bunch of people that agree with me. In fact, I'd say that most of the people that agree with me are the ones that are achieving at high levels. The people that are busy trying to find that joy that lies in the next moment, that lies behind the next door, that lies behind the next alley or the next corner you turn, are the people that are never, ever present because they're expecting that next thing to make them happy. I just want to be happy someday. Well, you're not gonna be. You can't be. You have to choose it. So, one more example. I'm going to call this even after this, but like, all right. So if you're having a shit-ass day, like you're just in a negative mood, you cannot get out of it for nothing, and you're just feeling like, what am I going to do? The world sucks. And let's just say you get a piece of really good news. You find out that maybe a friend that you haven't seen for 10 years is going to be where you're at in 10 minutes, and that they're going to give you the biggest hug you've ever fucking felt, and you were just so excited to see this person. Where did that energy come from? Did it come from the universe? Did it come from that news? Or did a switch get flipped in your own fucking brain and you generated that energy inside of you because of the love that you had for that person? As it turns out, you can have that same love for every fucking moment of your life. And that's why the people that achieve at high levels, you don't hear bemoaning their circumstances. That's why you don't hear people that achieve at high levels saying, man, well, in 10 years when this all pays off, I'm going to be happy. When my 5-year plan is over, guess what? By the time it's over, I'll probably have another 5 and a 10 and a 20-year plan going. I'm not going to just stop. I'm never going to arrive at happy. It's impossible. Life is built on contrast. Happy exists because sad exists. Joyous exists because depressed exists. And without those things, without the knowledge that both of those things exist, you can't take pain away and still have joy. You can't. It has to be both. But what that means is that you can learn to be just as appreciative for the pain in your life as you can for the joy. Because both of them are teaching you something. The joy is teaching you to remember in the moment how important these things are to you. That's God talking to you and telling you what's really fucking important. Guess what the most important things in life are? They're free. They're all given to us by the universe, by God. Love of family, life, the ability to choose, the freedom of choice for what we want to do with our own life, the ability to actually focus our energy and give it back to the universe. These are all fucking free and they're taken for granted. They're taken for granted because we're hoping that if we lose 50 pounds that we'll be happy then. We're hoping that once we make $200,000 a year that all of a sudden we're going to be fulfilled. As it turns out, all of those things are just a means to an end. And that means, really, that boils down to, in the like grand scheme of things, that we have to choose now. I have to choose to remember that pain is just as important. In fact, I have to choose to love that pain. Because when I come out on the other side of it, I'm going to be a real bad motherfucker for it. Love y'all.